New York City, the 2nd of May 1957, 10:55 p.m. A black Cadillac pulls up to the entrance of the majestic apartments at 115 Central Park West. The building stands 29 stories tall. Limestone facade, brass revolving door, doorman in uniform. Frank Costello sits in the back seat. He wears a dark suit, white shirt, no tie. His chauffeur, Philip Kennedy, turns off the engine. Costello is 76 years old, 5 feet 7 inches tall, grey hair combed back, deep lines in his face. He controls slot machines, bookmaking operations, and political influence across New York. Born Francesco Castiglia in Lauropoli, Italy, 1891. Arrived in America at age 4. Grew up in East Harlem. Rose through bootlegging during Prohibition. Now, in 1957, he is called the Prime Minister of the Underworld. He steps out of the Cadillac. His shoes touch the sidewalk. The air is cool. Temperature 58 degrees. Kennedy drives away. Costello walks toward the entrance. He moves slowly. He had surgery 2 weeks earlier. Prostate operation. Still recovering. The doorman nods. Costello nods back. He enters the lobby. Marble floors. High ceilings. Crystal chandelier. The lobby is empty except for one man sitting in a chair near the elevator. The man wears a fedora. Dark overcoat. He does not look up. Costello walks to the elevator. He presses the button. The elevator arrives. Brass doors open. He steps inside. The man in the fedora stands up. He walks quickly toward the elevator. Costello does not see him. The man reaches the elevator just as the doors begin to close. He pushes through. He is inside now. Costello turns. The man is shorter than Costello, 5 feet 5 inches, heavy build, round face. He keeps his head down. His right hand is in his coat pocket. The man pulls out a revolver. Smith & Wesson, .38 caliber. He raises it. Costello sees the gun. His eyes widen. He turns his head to the left. Instinct. The man fires. The shot is loud. The sound echoes in the small elevator. The bullet enters the right side of Costello's head, just above the ear. It travels through skin and tissue. It does not penetrate the skull. It moves along the surface. It exits near the left temple. Blood appears immediately. Costello staggers. His knees buckle. He falls backward against the elevator wall. His hand goes to his head. Blood runs through his fingers. The man does not fire again. He turns and runs out of the elevator. He crosses the lobby. The doorman is not at his post. The man pushes through the revolving door. He disappears onto Central Park West. Costello slides down the elevator wall. He sits on the floor. Blood covers his face, his suit jacket, the marble floor. He is conscious. He does not scream. He presses his hand against his head. The elevator doors remain open. The doorman returns to the lobby. He sees Costello. He runs to the elevator. He shouts. He picks up the phone at the front desk. He calls the police. He calls an ambulance. The time is 11:02 p.m. 7 minutes have passed since Costello arrived. Police arrive at 11:09 p.m. 2 patrol cars, 4 officers. They enter the lobby. They see Costello on the elevator floor. One officer kneels beside him. Costello is still conscious. His eyes are open. Blood continues to flow. The officer asks who shot him. Costello does not answer. An ambulance arrives at 11:14 p.m. Roosevelt Hospital is 3 miles away. 2 medics enter the lobby. They carry a stretcher. They lift Costello onto it. They carry him out. They place him in the ambulance. It drives west on 72nd Street, siren on, red lights flashing. At Roosevelt Hospital, doctors examine Costello. The bullet entered above his right ear. It traveled under the skin. It circled 3/4 of his head. It exited near his left temple. The skull is not fractured. No brain damage. The wound is serious but not fatal. He is lucky. If he had not turned his head at the last second, the bullet would have entered his skull. Doctors clean the wound. They stitch the entrance and exit points. 32 stitches total. They wrap his head in bandages. White gauze. Costello remains conscious through the procedure. He does not speak. He does not answer questions. Detectives arrive at the hospital at 11:45 p.m. They enter Costello's room. He lies in bed, head wrapped, face pale, eyes open. The lead detective is Lieutenant Joseph Coyle, Manhattan North homicide, 48 years old, 22 years on the force. He has investigated organized crime for 10 years. He knows who Costello is. Coyle asks Costello what happened. Costello says he does not know. Coyle asks if he saw the shooter. Costello says no. Coyle asks if anyone has threatened him recently. Costello says no. Coyle asks if he has enemies. Costello says he has no enemies. Coyle asks where he was tonight before the shooting. Costello says he had dinner. Coyle asks where. Costello says he does not remember. Coyle knows Costello is lying. The code is simple. No cooperation with police, ever, even when shot in the head. Coyle continues asking questions. Costello gives the same answers. No. I don't know. I don't remember. Coyle writes in his notebook. He knows this will go nowhere. Other detectives search the lobby of the Majestic Apartments. They find the spent shell casing. It is near the elevator. Brass. 38 caliber. They photograph it. They bag it. They search for other evidence. There is none. No witnesses except the doorman. And he saw almost nothing. The doorman's name is Norval Keith, 53 years old. He has worked at the Majestic for 11 years. Detectives interview him in the lobby. He says he saw Mr. Costello arrive. He says Mr. Costello walked to the elevator. He says he stepped away from his post for a moment. He went to the back office. He heard a loud sound, like a firecracker. He returned to the lobby. He saw Mr. Costello on the elevator floor. He saw no one else. Detectives ask if he saw anyone suspicious earlier. He says there was a man in the lobby, sitting in a chair. He did not recognize him. He thought the man was waiting for a tenant. He describes the man: short, heavy, dark coat, fedora. That is all he remembers. Detectives canvass the building. They knock on doors. They ask if anyone heard or saw anything. Most tenants were asleep. Some heard a loud noise. None saw the shooter. One tenant on the 15th floor says she saw a man running on Central Park West. Dark coat, moving fast. She did not see his face. At midnight, news of the shooting reaches newspaper offices. Reporters call police headquarters. They call the hospital. They drive to Central Park West. By 12:30 a.m., 6 reporters are in the lobby of the Majestic. Police keep them behind a rope line. Photographers take pictures. Flashbulbs pop. The New York Times will run the story on the front page. The headline will read, "Costello shot, refuses to talk." The article will include his name, age, address, and criminal history. It will describe the wound. It will note that he refused to cooperate with police. Inside Roosevelt Hospital, doctors monitor Costello through the night. His vital signs are stable. Blood pressure normal. No signs of infection. He remains awake. Nurses check on him every 30 minutes. Police officers stand outside his room. 2 uniformed patrolmen. They are there for his protection and to make sure he does not leave. At 2 a.m., Costello's lawyer arrives. George Wolfe, 52 years old, partner at Wolfe and Brenner. He has represented Costello for 15 years. He enters the hospital room. He speaks with Costello quietly. The conversation lasts 20 minutes. Wolfe leaves. He does not speak to reporters. Detectives continue their investigation through the night. They pull records on Costello. They review his known associates. They review his enemies. The list is long. Costello has been involved in organized crime for 40 years. He has survived gang wars, federal investigations, deportation attempts. He has made many enemies. One name stands out: Vito Genovese, 60 years old, born in Naples, Italy, came to America in 1913, started in the same Harlem streets as Costello, rose through the same organizations. In the 1930 seconds, Genovese fled to Italy to avoid murder charges. He stayed there through World War II. He returned to New York in 1945. He wanted control of the organization. Costello already had it. For 12 years, tensions simmered. Genovese wanted power. Costello held it. In 1957, the tension reached a breaking point. Genovese began making moves. He spoke to captains. He built alliances. He questioned Costello's leadership. He said Costello was too soft, too close to politicians, not tough enough. Detectives know this history. They suspect Genovese ordered the hit. But suspicion is not evidence. They need proof. They need witnesses. They need someone to talk. No one will. At 6 a.m., the morning newspapers hit the streets. The Daily News runs a large photo of the majestic apartments. The headline reads, "Mob boss shot in lobby." The New York Post runs a photo of Costello from 5 years earlier. The headline reads, "Prime Minister wounded." The Mirror runs a diagram of the shooting scene. It shows where Costello stood, where the shooter fired from, the trajectory of the bullet. Radio stations report the story every hour. Wins. WNEW. Were. They describe the shooting. They repeat that Costello refuses to cooperate. They speculate about who ordered the hit. They name Genovese. They name other rivals. No one confirms anything. At 8 a.m., FBI agents arrive at the hospital. The Federal Bureau of Investigation has been monitoring Costello for years. They have thick files on him. Surveillance reports. Wiretap transcripts. Tax records. They want to interview him. Not about the shooting. About his business dealings. Special Agent Thomas McGowan leads the team. 45 years old, 15 years with the Bureau. He has worked organized crime cases in New York since 1950. He enters Costello's room. Costello is awake, head still bandaged. McGowan asks if Costello will answer questions. Costello says no. McGowan asks if Costello fears for his life. Costello says no. McGowan leaves. At 10 a.m., Costello asks to leave the hospital. Doctors say he should stay for observation. Costello insists. He signs a release form. He is discharged at 10:45 a.m. He wears the same suit from the night before. Blood stains on the jacket. White bandage around his head. 2 police detectives escort him to a waiting car. Reporters swarm. Cameras flash. Costello does not speak. He gets in the car. It drives away. The car does not go to the majestic apartments. It goes to a different building, 300 East, 57th Street. A smaller apartment. Costello uses it sometimes. Fewer people know about it. The car pulls up. Costello gets out. He walks inside. Detectives follow. They wait in the lobby. Costello stays inside for 3 hours. At 2 p.m., he comes back down. He gets in a different car. This one is driven by an associate, name unknown to police. The car drives uptown. It stops at a restaurant. Chandler's. East 62nd Street. Costello goes inside. Inside Chandler's, Costello meets with 5 men, all known figures in organized crime. Anthony Strollo, also known as Tony Bender, underboss in the organization. Michael Miranda, capo. Vincent Allo, also known as Jimmy Blue Eyes, close associate of Meyer Lansky. Joseph Stachy, another capo. And one more man, younger, not known to police at this time. They sit in a back room, private, no windows. They talk for 90 minutes. Police do not know what is said, no wiretaps, no informants present. But the topic is clear: survival, retaliation, power. When Costello leaves Chandler's, he does not return to either apartment. He goes to a third location, a house in Sands Point, Long Island, North Shore, quiet area, large homes, distance from the city. The house belongs to a friend, a legitimate businessman, no criminal record. Costello will stay there for the next week. Detectives continue working the case. They re-interview the doorman. They interview other building staff. The elevator operator was off duty that night. The building has no security cameras. This is 1957. Surveillance technology is limited. There are no witnesses who can identify the shooter. On May 3, the day after the shooting, a break comes. Not from witnesses, from evidence. Detectives examine Costello's suit jacket, the one with blood stains. It was left at the hospital. Inside the jacket pocket, they find a piece of paper, folded, wrinkled. They unfold it. It is a handwritten note, numbers written in pencil, a financial record. The note reads, "Gross Casino wins, As of the 27th of April 2057, $651,284. The date is 5 days before the shooting. The amount is specific. Detectives recognize what this is: a gambling record, casino winnings. But there are no legal casinos in New York in 1957. This must be from somewhere else. Detectives research. They check reports from other jurisdictions. They contact law enforcement in Nevada. In 1957, Las Vegas is growing. The Desert Inn, the Sands, the Tropicana. New hotels open every year. Many are financed by money from the East Coast, from organized crime. The Tropicana Hotel opened on the 4th of April 1957, less than a month before the shooting. Located on the Las Vegas Strip, cost $11 million to build. Financed by a group of investors. On paper, the investors are legitimate businessmen, but detectives know the truth. Behind the legitimate names are hidden owners, men like Costello, men like Genovese, men like Meyer Lansky. The number on the note matches the time period. April 27, 3 weeks after the Tropicana opened. Detectives believe Costello had an interest in the casino. The note was his record of earnings. This is important. It shows Costello still had significant business operations. It shows he was still making money, lots of money. It also shows he was keeping records, handwritten notes, dangerous in his line of work. On May 4, detectives travel to Las Vegas. They visit the Tropicana. They speak with the official owners, J. Kell Husels, Louis Lederer, Ben Jaffe. All deny knowing Costello. All deny any hidden ownership. Detectives do not believe them, but they have no proof. Back in New York, police focus on finding the shooter. They review mugshots with the doorman. He looks at hundreds of photos. He cannot identify anyone. His description is too vague: short, heavy, dark coat. That describes thousands of men in New York. On May 6, an informant contacts police. The informant's name is not recorded in official reports. This is standard practice. Informants are protected. The informant says the shooter is Vincent Gigante, known as Chin, 30 years old, born in Manhattan, worked as a boxer in the 1940 seconds, fought as a light heavyweight, lost more than he won, quit boxing, joined organized crime. Gigante worked for Vito Genovese. He was an enforcer, a soldier, not high-ranking, but reliable, willing to do violent work. The informant says Genovese ordered the hit. Gigante carried it out. Detectives investigate Gigante. They find his address, AR 225 Sullivan Street, Greenwich Village. They watch the building. They do not see him. On May 7, they enter the building. They knock on his apartment door. No answer. They ask neighbors. One neighbor says Gigante left 2 days ago. He had a suitcase. He did not say where he was going. Detectives issue a bulletin. Wanted for questioning. Vincent Gigante. They distribute his photo. They contact airports, bus stations, train stations. No one reports seeing him. On May 9, Costello returns to Manhattan. He moves back into the majestic apartments. He hires private security, 2 armed guards. They stay in the lobby 24 hours a day. They watch everyone who enters. They escort Costello to and from his car. On May 10, the doorman, Norval Keith, receives a visitor. A man comes to his apartment. Not a detective, not a reporter. The man is not identified. He speaks with Keith for 10 minutes. After the man leaves, Keith changes his story. Keith calls police. He says he made a mistake. He says he did not see anyone in the lobby that night. He says he was confused. He says the shooting happened so fast. He cannot be sure of anything. Detectives know what this means. Keith has been threatened, or paid, or both. Without the doorman's testimony, the case weakens. There are no other witnesses, no physical evidence linking anyone to the shooting. The spent shell casing is generic. It could have come from thousands of revolvers. The note found in Costello's pocket proves nothing about the shooting. It only proves Costello had gambling interests. On May 11, Costello gives his first statement to the press, not in person. Through his lawyer, George Wolfe releases a written statement. It reads, Mr. Costello is recovering well. He holds no ill will toward anyone. He does not know who shot him. He asks for privacy during this difficult time. The statement is calculated. He holds no ill will toward anyone. This is a message, not to the public, to the underworld. Costello is not retaliating, at least not openly. He does not know who shot him. This is for the police. He will not cooperate. Ever. On May 14, Vincent Gigante surfaces. He walks into a police station in Queens. He is accompanied by a lawyer, Maurice Edelbaum, well-known criminal defense attorney. Gigante says he heard police wanted to question him. He says he is here voluntarily. He says he has nothing to hide. Detectives interview Gigante for 3 hours. He denies shooting Costello. He says he does not know Costello. He says he was home the night of May 2. He was with his family, his mother, his brothers. They will confirm this. Detectives interview Gigante's family. They all say the same thing. Vincent was home that night. He never left. They are lying. Detectives know it, but they cannot prove it. On May 15, the doorman dies. Norval Keith. Heart attack. He is found in his apartment, dead on the floor. He is 53 years old. No signs of foul play. The medical examiner rules it natural causes. Detectives suspect otherwise, but an autopsy shows nothing suspicious. Clogged arteries, high blood pressure, heart failure. With Keith dead, the last potential witness is gone. The case stalls. On May 20, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office convenes a grand jury. The purpose is not to indict anyone for the shooting. There is not enough evidence. The purpose is to investigate Costello's business dealings, the note found in his pocket, the casino winnings, the hidden interests in Las Vegas. Costello is subpoenaed. He appears on May 23. He wears a dark suit, white bandage still on his head, smaller now. The wound is healing. He sits before the grand jury. He is asked about the note. He invokes his Fifth Amendment right. He is asked about the Tropicana. He invokes the Fifth. He is asked about his income. He invokes the Fifth. He answers nothing. The grand jury hears testimony from others. Casino executives from Las Vegas. Financial experts. FBI agents. They build a case, not for the shooting, for tax evasion, for unreported income. On June 4, a federal grand jury indicts Costello. The charge is income tax evasion. The indictment states that Costello failed to report income from gambling operations, specifically income from Las Vegas casinos. The penalty, if convicted, is up to 5 years in prison. Costello's trial begins in September 1957. It lasts 3 weeks. The prosecution presents the note found in his pocket. They present testimony from FBI agents. They present financial records. They show that Costello deposited large sums of money in bank accounts, money he did not report on his tax returns. The defense argues the note proves nothing. It does not have Costello's name on it. It could belong to anyone. It could have been placed in his pocket by someone else. The jury does not believe this. On the 2nd of October 1957, the jury convicts Costello. The judge sentences him to 5 years in federal prison. Costello remains free on bail while his lawyers appeal. Vincent Gigante is never charged with the shooting. There is not enough evidence. The doorman is dead. No other witnesses come forward. Costello never identifies him. The case remains officially open, but no detective actively works it. Gigante continues working for Vito Genovese. He rises in the organization. He becomes a capo, then an underboss. In later years, he will pretend to be mentally ill. He will walk the streets of Greenwich Village in a bathrobe. He will mumble to himself. He will avoid prosecution for decades. In 1997, he will finally be convicted of racketeering. He will die in prison in 2005. Vito Genovese takes control of the organization in 1957. The shooting of Costello is the final step. With Costello weakened, Genovese consolidates power. He orders other hits. Albert Anastasia is killed in October 1957, shot in a barber shop. Genovese becomes the most powerful crime boss in New York, but his reign is short. In 1959, Genovese is indicted on drug charges. He is convicted. He is sentenced to 15 years in federal prison. He dies in prison in 1969. Costello serves his prison sentence. He is released in 1961. He is 70 years old. He does not return to active leadership. He retires. He lives quietly in New York. He dies in 1973. He is 82 years old. Heart attack. He is buried in St. Michael's Cemetery in Queens. The majestic apartments still stand at 115 Central Park West. The lobby has been renovated. The marble floors remain. The brass elevator remains. No plaque marks what happened there. Most residents do not know. On the 2nd of May 1957, a man fired one bullet in that lobby. The bullet traveled 3/4 of the way around a man's head. It did not kill him, but it changed everything. It ended one era. It started another. Within weeks, the old power structure collapsed. New leaders rose. Old leaders fell. The blood was washed away that night. The shell casing was bagged as evidence. The revolving door kept turning. People came and went. Life continued. But the men involved never forgot. Costello never spoke about it. Not to police, not to reporters, not even to his closest associates. He knew the rules. He followed them until the day he died. Gigante never confessed. Not in 1957, not in the decades that followed. Even when he was finally convicted of other crimes, he never admitted to the shooting. The truth died with him. The case file remains in a warehouse in Queens. Box 195-724-472. Closed but unsolved. Detectives wrote their reports. They documented the evidence. They named the suspects. They could not prove it. On the 2nd of May 1957, at 10:57 p.m., a man pulled a trigger in a lobby on Central Park West. One shot. 7 minutes of chaos. Decades of consequences. The city moved on. The building remained. And the truth stayed in the elevator, somewhere between the lobby and the penthouse floor.